What's up, everybody? This is my Loki Season 1 Episode 3. It is entitled Lamentis, and this is my review of it. But first off, before we start the actual review, I'd just like to say, we are on the road to 100 subscribers, so if you would subscribe, it would greatly help out the channel, and I would really appreciate it. But I get it if you don't. But honestly, my opinion on this episode, it wasn't as great as the other ones. It wasn't great in all means. It was good, but it wasn't bad. You get where I fall. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't great. I didn't per se love this episode, but I didn't hate it either. But anyway, I'll start rambling. So let's just roll that intro. This episode starts off with C20 in a bar talking to Lady Loki, and there's a whole brain freeze thing, and Lady Loki basically Sylvie basically wants to just find out where the timekeepers are. And people said if you look in the background on these scenes, you can see Ralph Boner or something, but that's a heavy spoilers thing. And Sylvie changes the time in C20's memories, and we find out this conversation is happening inside C20's head while Sylvie is in it. And then we cut to modern day, or like an hour or 20 minutes after that or whatever, where the portal that Sylvie opened last episode goes to the TVA, where she ambushes a guard and tries to use her powers on him, and it doesn't work because obviously magic doesn't work in the TVA, so she ends up having to fight a bunch of the Minutemen in the hallway, and she takes one of their sticks and basically just obliterates the other Minutemen with them, erasing them from the timeline. And yeah, Loki goes through the portal and he grabs his daggers from Mobius's locker, which we could presume. He meets up with Lady Loki, and him and Lady talk and fight, banter, or whatever. And it's just like, Sylvie doesn't trust Loki yet, so it's just a confrontation thing right now. But yeah, eventually they fight, and it just becomes this big thing where when they're fighting, just wait for it, Renslayer and two Minutemen come in after them, and it's just a big thing where they need to get away. So Loki has the time portal opening thing. I'm sorry that I don't even remember that, but he uses it to open a portal to wherever, some random apocalypse, which they do. And when they drop down, Sylvie and Loki fight for the time portal opening thing, and basically Sylvie's like, oh my, after an asteroid crashes into where they are, Sylvie's like, oh my god, where'd you send us? And Loki's like, I don't know, I didn't have time to look, I just pressed some random place. So he's like, you sent us to the worst possible place. This is Lamentis 1 in 2077, where the entire population is wiped out, and the moon crashes into the planet. So they run for their lives to get shelter, and they're basically in a crater zone where all the other ones are going to fall. So when they get inside a place, Sylvie tries to use her magic on Loki and get inside Loki's head, and Loki's like, what are you doing? And there's just some banter here. Yeah, Loki doesn't know that Sylvie is called Sylvie yet, and they haven't warmed up to each other yet, which I wouldn't expect. But they eventually come across a town where it's just an abandoned, empty town where nobody lives, and there is this one lonely house which they can't get into, but they say could power the time portal, time pad, or whatever it is. Tempad, yeah, that's it. The Tempad. And, anyway, they eventually walk through the desert, and, Loki finds out that her name's Sylvie, and they have a quick little conversation before, they come across just one lonely shack, and in it, Sylvie goes in confrontational, of course, and there is an old lady in there that shoots him, and her and Loki banter before Loki sees a picture of her husband and transforms in that husband, trying to make her not shoot them, of course, and it doesn't work because they both get blasted, or that he said something wrong, and it's just like some bitter old couple, like, he hasn't said nothing like that nice since in 30 years, but whatever. The lady tells them to go to the train station, and that's exactly what they do, and they don't. Loki goes forward with his plan and basically doesn't let Sylvie go forward with hers. So Loki transforms into one of the guards, which they definitely are going to make an action figure of and just sell. But Loki tries to get in, but Sylvie has to use her magic to sweet talk the guard. And yeah, they get into the train, they talk, and this is one of my favorite scenes in the episode, or my favorite scene. This is where they talk, and we find out basically more about Sylvie and Loki, and they talk about their mothers, where Sylvie had a whole entire different childhood with Loki, where Sylvie really never knew her mother, where that was like Loki's favorite person in Asgard, and Sylvie always knew she was a frost giant and that she was adopted, but Loki had to find out the hard way, as we saw in Thor 1, and they just had two entirely different childhoods, and throughout this conversation, they find the topic of love, which I ultimately feel will be a big theme in this series, because as it's later revealed, the TVA agents are variants, and they all are connected to something they love. C20 loved margaritas, Mobius loves jet skis, so if they can all appeal to the variants and what they love, then all the variants can get free. But here we find out Loki is bisexual and has had boys and girlfriends or whatever, and yeah, it's just a quick little reveal. Didn't do much. Awesome. Good for him. Representation. And if any of you are part of the LGBT community, happy Pride Month. But yeah, Sylvie goes to sleep, and she wakes up to Loki singing Asgardian, which I think was a test to test if she was really from Asgard. But eventually, it's just a beautiful song, man. And it seems like some Pirates of the Caribbean crap, which is fun. But or when they were like, I don't know, maybe thinking of some. But yeah, eventually they talk, and Loki's like, I figured it out. Love is a dagger, and by the end, it's like a crappy metaphor. And Sylvie even says that's a crappy metaphor. But eventually, these the train guards come in and are like, hey, where are your tickets? And Loki uses fireworks out of his hand because he's drunk, and they eventually get into a big fight, and yeah, it's just a big problem, and he tries to throw something at Sylvie, and it a dagger at Sylvie to help her because she's trapped by a guard, and it misses, and she's like, hey, nice shot. And yeah, they just fight their way through. Loki throws a train guard out a window, which I thought was hilarious, which later, not later, I think I've heard of that, but, yeah, they just fight, and Loki throws a train guard out the window. I'm repeating myself now. Here we go. And then Loki himself gets thrown out a window by two train guards, and Sylvie follows along after that, and jumps out the window herself, which that's a tight space to jump out of, but I guess they are gods, as Loki would say. And Loki hits the ground pretty hard, and he rolls, and he gets up like he did when he was falling for 13 minutes in Ragnarok. That was a bad impression, by the way. And Sylvie's like, hey, where's the tempad? And Loki reveals it, and he's like, oh, well, I did hit the ground pretty hard. And Sylvie's like, oh my god, you idiot. How are we gonna escape now? We can't even leave. We're all gonna die. him and Loki talk, her and Loki talk, and Loki's like, hey, the Ark, it got destroyed, but we were never on the Ark, so let's go on the Ark, and then we can change some stuff. And as they walk through the planet, 1, it's beautiful, and 2, it's all fake. No, I'm just kidding, it's beautiful. But as they talk, Sylvie eventually reveals that how her enchanting powers work, and if you don't know, Sylvie is the enchantress in the comics, so I don't know if they're going to do that. I have an idea that it's just going to be an amalgamation of Lady Loki and Sylvie, but eventually Sylvie reveals the big bomb of the mic drop of the episode, where she says that the TVA agents are all variants, and I think that, yeah, the love could play into that, because TVA, everyone loves at least one thing, and they gotta appeal to that love. Mobius loves jet skis, C20 loves margaritas, so they just gotta appeal to all that. But yeah, they get to the town, and the Ark is gonna leave, and is just about to leave, so they gotta move fast, and, run through the city, and, that's what they do. And even in the last moments of, the planet, the train guards are still after that man. Sorry if I sound far away, I need to get my charger, but whatever. I love how this was shot, like, in one take, this action scene where Loki, he uses big magic there, saving him and Sylvie, but I love how, it was shot, man, just one long take until the end, or that's what you're peeled. I think I found, like, 1 to 3 to 4 cuts that could possibly be there. It could be like 1917, where it appears as one long, take, but they, cut it some in very strategic places, but eventually the Ark gets destroyed, and Loki and Sylvie are just left in the planet, helpless, and that's where they end us. And I'm gonna be honest, the first half of this episode, the pacing was what really bothered me in this episode, because the first half of the episode, the first 20 minutes felt really slow, but by the end I felt like it had only been 5 minutes, but no, it had been like 22. But yeah, what do you think about this episode? If you're still here, please consider giving the video a like, subscribing, and if you are already subscribed and you watch all these videos, why don't you go down in the description, follow all the socials. I don't really post about the channel, but yeah, you can find some cool edits on TikTok or whatever. But yeah, if you want to see any videos that we made within the past week, you can go down below and check those out. And also, turn notifications, subscribe, goodbye, and stay safe, goodbye, and stay safe.